Victorinox, and because we're going to be talking about design and materials and a little bit about history and heritage, get yourself down the front because this is going to be a bit more hands-on, a bit more touch and feel, as they say in Swiss circles. But I think we'll start off maybe if you can, I guess. We were just saying a moment ago, in most circles, if you talk about Victorinox, they'll know Swiss Army knives, and they may not know quite as much about the watchmaking side of things, but they actually work very harmoniously together and have a very shared history, and I thought that might be quite an interesting place for you to start.
So thank you for coming. Yes, Victorinox is Swiss Army knife, and we are not a traditional watch brand because we are coming exactly out of the Swiss Army knife. We are not just doing watches, we are just forging metal, putting inside a movement and call it a watch, because we actually produce our cases in-house. So Victorinox is very special because when we do products, we don't just look at design. Design is one of the most important things, but first of all, we think about final consumer. Because when we do a knife, we think about what it can do with it. When we do a watch, we think about what it could expect from us. So I don't like to stay up here. I feel really embarrassed. So I would jump down and I will give you something in the hands. And you need to tell me something about Victorinox. So I'm going to give you this and I'll let you turn it around. By the way, at the end of this presentation, someone of you will win a watch. So be careful to details. We are Swiss, so we'll pose you a question on details. So here you have a piece that is going around, and here I gave you other two pieces. Be careful, some things are sharp. They're not knives, but you have to guess what we do with this. You make it turn around, and I need to know from you, so I don't know who has a microphone back there that can give it. So you have this piece in the hand, and it's made in which metal? Who wants to dare to say in which metal is this? Over there? 360L, stainless steel. Both of them. Why they look so strange? One looks really like a very ugly watch, and the other one is just a piece of tube. What do we do with that in Delamont? What do you think we can do? So imagine many brands in our price segment. We are price segment between £400 to £1,600. We use quartz movement, we use Salite movement, we use La Jouperet movement, and we actually do not place them just in the watch. We test them to resist. So imagine La Jouperet, you know the movements, and even Salita. Before placing those movements in our watches, we need to make sure they resist 6 kilos shock. Why? Because we think final consumer. So we want that a watch is surviving your everyday life. So if we apply just the easy ISO norm, we shock it at 3 kilos, then it's fine. We let it drop at 1 kilo and 1 meter, and then it's fine. No, we do more. After you will discover what we do with those pieces of metal. So imagine when you do the ISO norm, 3 kilos, we do 6 kilos shock. So we shock it on the side, on the front, on the back, with an automatic movement inside. So the Jouperet and Salita, both of them, they make sure they really screw very well the movement, and sometimes they do some modification to make sure they can pass our homologation. But why we do it? Because in the morning, oops, I let fall my watch. I'm a woman. You can imagine what I do with this watch when I put it in my bag. So we have to make sure that the consumer goes playing squash, is playing squash. I don't do it because there are people. Is playing squash, he forgot to put the watch well on his wrist, and then the watch breaks. We don't want that to happen. Even if the consumer has paid a price that is very logical, that is not over expensive because we are a producer. So if you make your calculation, you ask ChatGPT, the price we sell the product, you understand is really production to consumer. We want that it lasts forever. Even if we give only 5-year warranty because the movement is not done in-house, we want that the consumer feels totally free of thinking about quality of the product. And this is for us the mentality of the Swiss Army knife. I would love you to come to Switzerland and come to the laboratory where we destroy the watches to make sure that they resist. You will have so much fun. We have a lot of people coming. It's one of the most fun things. Second nice thing is when they see the production of watches. So some of you had this round, heavy thing in the hands. Do you know what we do with that? Guess, guess, guess. We produce in-house. We produce in-house. So with this thing here, you can't imagine they're very long bars, normally from here to the end of this diameter. And we have machinery called Nakamura. We pull out the back case. The back case of the watch. Now, here I have only a few people so I could smuggle through the custom, so be nice. Then we have the container of the watch. We do the bezels. I'll let you turn it around. We do the bezels and the finishing of the bezels. And here are row pieces of the container. So when you look at what containers for us is the metallic part we have inside the carbon watches to make sure we assure 200-meter water resistance. We do it in-house. And carbon, when we do it, we inject it in the village close to us. So again, even with carbon watches, the inside part is made in Delemont, the outside part is done, I start from here, in the close factory to us. So it's really Swiss made, Swiss origin, close origin. Everything we do it in Switzerland. Even the coloring of the case, we do it in the Liechtenstein, so it's always in Switzerland. So it's a very pure family brand and very much manufacturing. But what happened with the other watch you saw around, the other piece you saw around, you know what it is. What is that thing? Hard, ugly thing. When we design a watch, first of all, we take the design, we like it, and then we create, let's say, the ébauche. We create the shape around it. And thanks to that shape, which needs to fit in different kind of designs and finishing, we actually make a stamp out of it. So with a big piece of metal is stamped, and with the stamp, we get this. This flat thing you just saw and you had in your hand is, let's say, the maximum geometry of watch X, for example. We have 7 collections, I will present you afterwards. So this is really raw. Goes into the machinery. There's a lot of human intervention. When we do this, we do the tooling to do that. We do the tooling in-house also to prepare the machines to cut the watch as we want, to finish the watch as we want. We are really a micro world of everything, manufacturing reality. And then once we do that, and this is really ask you really to be careful because the first coming out from the machine is really sharp. Of course we do knives, but that's not supposed to cut, but it will now. So we have first watch, which is going to be very rough, so you see the material has all gone away. Then we come with a watch like that. Why is pink? So this is a process. Once we do that watch over there, we actually color it like this. Do you know why we do that? That comes out from the machines. This is painted by humans. So what we do is that we spray it in pink because it's very evident color, because the case goes back in the hands of the polisher, that they go to remove all the sharp edges and gives all the watch elimination of all the sharp edges. When it's pink, you see the different color, so human don't make mistake when they finish the watch. And then, of course, once they have finished their job, the watch case will come out like that. Do you have questions so far? Why pink, not yellow, not orange? This I don't know. I think it was a nice color they found over there. So, by hand, actually, you have all the polishing actions. The polisher, it's an impressive job, because imagine you're sitting in front of a big polishing machine, and they put their arms on, and they pose the watch, and they do always the same movement to remove on a free hand. It's impressive.
So can a CNC machine?
No, because the CNC machine, they transform this to the first case we saw. That is fine. Then we can put it in the polishing machine. So the humans, still the team, puts it on the plate, goes inside the finishing machine who does the polishing, the circle polishing. But when it comes out, the sharp edge, you can't do anything about it. You need to do it by hand. So we've tried to do it in different ways. It's just the human can do it. And this is another layer of Victorinox professional level when it comes to production. I mean, you see real people doing it. It's not machines, it's not made in China. So this is one of the things. Question so far? No? Yes?
I was going to say, I think it's really impressive that you guys are actually manufacturing your case in Switzerland, and it's a real point of differentiation. I'd just be really interested to hear how many Swiss-made big brands are not creating their cases in Switzerland, and as you mentioned, China as a thing. Because you're proving that you can do it in a cost-effective manner. Why are some of the biggest Swiss brands not doing that?
Let's see, we're very bad in marketing, so we save a lot of money in marketing, so we can afford ourselves to not charge marketing cost on our product. Honestly, I think it's all a matter of margin and status of companies, and we also, Victorinox, we did it in the past with China-made case, huh? And it was a decision of the group to say we stop. We actually built a watch competence center in Delémont, and there was more than 40 million invested. In this factory, we actually produce watches. We also have knives, butcher knives, and also we produce peelers. So we have a big factory in Delémont where we have decided to invest to do it our own. And I can tell you, it was a super complex situation at the beginning. We were pulling out cases that were more sharp than real knives. I mean, we could cut cardboards with the first cases. It was a nightmare. But it took us 3 years to take the level of perfection we have today, to reach the level of perfection we have today. And of course, sometimes and often we get said, you sell your watches not expensive enough. Because when you have a La Joux-Perret inside a movement on a square watch and we sell it for £1,500, brands remains like other competitors or itself consumers say it's not expensive. I mean, other brands could sell this for 5,000 and more. Why you don't do it? Because our name is Victorinox. We are not luxury. But let's say that it's luxury to own a Victorinox, which is done over the limit of quality for a very fair price. And this is our mentality. We are not fashion victims. We are not over-branded. We are not strong in marketing, to be honest. We are not emotioning a lot. Where emotion comes is when you explain the product to the consumer, they understand what is behind. But if we say on the superficial level, the only thing when we think Victorinox we have is just this, which is the best we could ever had. Because when in 2020, we had the COVID, and we had time to spend in thinking what we wanted to do in the Watch Competence Center. So we killed every brand, every collection we had so far. Everything we had with the China case got killed. We rewrote together with the group a new chapter for Victorinox watch based on our iconic Swiss Army knife and together with Inox. Inox for us is the most iconic watch which was created with cutters of knives like were carved by a Swiss Army knife. And from there, we have been actually able to create 7 new collections based on same design case elements and all having different purposes. So I'd like to turn around you some of the key collections we have, starting from the Inox collection, through the super dive watch, automatic in titanium, to the least expensive chronograph, full steel, again in PVD. I want you to touch those products. I'm sorry, I start from here. Touch the products and imagine that in this plateau you have the most expensive is £1,600, which is a GMT automatic anti-shock, 3 time zones, Swiss, very Swiss. And you have the most affordable one. Every watch has been as well studied to have a quick system and a compatible all-watch strap system. Our straps are 21 millimeters, which is a weird size, but if you buy whatever man watch of the new collection, you can fit in, I think we have 120 new accessories, so you can change the style of your watch. Why? Because, of course, the consumer wants it, but the point is because the most important thing is that we are Swiss Army knife. When you have a knife in the hand, how many use you can do with that? Depends on the thickness, but the mentality is the same. We need to give functionality and also adaptability. So we came out with different collections, always based on the same design code. So you will always see on the watch, on the side here, you have an industrial code of material. On the left side of the watch, industrial code of material. You have small flashes showing functions. You have different kind of touches of attention when it comes to ergonomy on the wrist and anti-sweat. All the material we use, we don't use silicone. It's very cheap. We don't use PU. We use only rubber, and we test it to death. White is tested not to dirt, and all the other colors are tested as well not to fade with UV. So every watch is kind of made to last. And this year, with the made to last, we have increased our quota of automatic models, but most of that, we have decided to make you meet your watchmaker every 10 years because we came with the solar movement. For us, it was a challenge because the solar movement as well had to resist a certain level of, sorry, I start from behind, a certain level of shock. So imagine a solar movement, shock 6 kilos, again, but design-wise, minimalistic. So being Victorinox, we are known for the Swiss Army knife, Swiss Army, numbers, red logo, but this year we're coming also into more classic design. And of course, we are reaching up also more elegant designs with the square that will come in 2026. Here I ask you not to make pictures of this plateau, but to show you all the variation we could make with the same case design. Someone of you has some watches in the hands, some questions, some complaints. Come on, we are here listening because we build on what you say. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that your factory missed the way it's actually based. And secondly, you use the Jupiter and the sleeping movements. Do the manufacturers make any changes, modifications to the movements to suit your needs? Or do you do any modifications to the movements in-house?
Actually, we don't modify in-house. We allow we ask our supplier to modify certain specs of the movement if needed, because they need to assure us that that movement lasts. If you start touching a movement of someone else that is, yeah, it's nice in the industry, many people, they just touch the movement, put a screw and say, it's my caliber. We don't do that. We like to say it is La Jouperet, it is Selita who made the modification for us. But when we actually test the movement at the beginning, we say, guys, as a reserve de marche, I mean, the power reserve is not enough, or it's not coherent to what you propose. Solar, we also tested, we said there are some issues, so it took us a year to use certain movements. At the beginning, we were using ETA, and we didn't start to use Selita until the Selita passed the homologation that ETA could survive. We were lucky that it happened at a good time, when we couldn't buy ETA anymore. But it's our mindset. We are very transparent. We don't like to pretend that we do movements. We do cases. This we don't pretend. But movements, it's our colleagues.
You mentioned in 2020 you did more with the Swiss Army knife team, renew the collection. Do you still work very closely with the knife team, or does the watch team work separately?
Actually, product is managed globally. So we have a head of product at eBach, who is actually my boss, and boss of travel gear, knives, and cutlery. When we sit together, we always watch the product. We try to do multi-category kind of same design. It didn't work because consumer needs different things out of the categories. But since 3 years, when we start to do something a little bit more avant-garde on the product, it was fun because knives, I said, can we use the same pattern? And that is started by working together. We are a very nice group of people, and we talk about graphene, for example, we say we want to use graphene. What do you think about doing it on travel gear? That costs too much for consumer. Okay, well, we do it on the knife. So we do have this internal way of talking, and it's not the formal way. It's really like, it's like asking you what would be the next material we can use, for example. It's really between us very, it's a family business. Very structured, very precise, very serious, very professional, but also very at hand. That's why I'm not sitting over there, it's not our style. Professional, but at hand. That's what we like. Another material we work in-house that I didn't tell you, I told you that we do the internal case when it comes to carbon, and that we inject in the village close to us. But at the same time, we also work in-house titanium, and I think you got it in between the watches you got, titanium case. We also produce it in-house. The anecdote about titanium is that actually when you get to the factory and there is titanium turning, the fire alarm, they are pushed to maximum alert. Do you know why? Have you ever seen how titanium change color when you use it, when you turn it? It gets like purple, blue, changes it. Imagine when you turn it very fast, what happens? It takes fire, flames. Big flames sometimes. So it happens that when we do the back cases, mainly back cases, you have the back case, which is the big tube of titanium goes into the machine. Machine, of course, it has oil and water coming, you know. It's a pity I couldn't show you the machinery, but it turns very fast. And when the small pieces of metal comes out as pieces like hair, they're super hot, and sometimes they take fire with the oil. So it's kind of, when titanium is made, we never do night shift. Everybody's there, like watching the titanium production, ready in case. So it's another crazy thing that Victorinox is able to do, which is impressive, to be honest. I come from the industry. I come from big groups. I've been into the ETA to see what they do. It was impressive to see movement. But when you have the chance to see what Victorinox is able to do, coming from the knife industry, not from the watch industry, I would say we say in French, chapeau. It's a really incredible company.
Ariana, I think this has been a brilliant presentation, actually, and I think it was a great idea to bring the watches and the materials, and so people can feel and touch and get that quality. I'm really staggered by the sort of price point of Victorinox, particularly as you are, I guess, how are your watches sold? Where do we find them? Is it a wholesale business? And
let's say you can find them on the internet, that's for sure, and victorinox.com. If you get inscribed, by the way, you can get also a nice rebate on the first purchase. In the UK, we are restarting distribution. You find a lot of them in Switzerland, in Spain, and other countries. A lot in Latin America, India as well, we're developing. But UK, let's say, it's a very new market for us, where we are redeveloping since we relaunched the whole industry.
But will you aim to be in jewelers and traditional watch retailers, or will it be department stores, or where are we most likely to find the watches?
We need to find the chain or channel that is able to explain what they sell. We are not Rolex, we are not someone who is like, you say the name, you have the status. We are like, let's call it even a micro brand almost, and we need someone who has passion to sell. Sometimes it's, you know, when you end up in big department stores, you need to have the passion behind the counter. And if you find that, that would be the department store. Otherwise, might be others, even online channels or aficionados able to explain and sell it by passion. Like we have Teddy Baldassare, for example, in the US. He has his own store. He sells it there.
Yeah. So for now, it's kind of direct to consumer. That's how you'd find it online most likely.
I can say that for UK in this moment, yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Any other questions?
I think I need to make the question to make someone win the
Oh, let's
watch.
do that,
But before that, I would like to have some questions.
I have a question. I saw all these really mechanical processes and steps and really details behind every single component, not just watch, but every single component. I was wondering how long does it take actually from the creation, from the idea, until the finished product that you release to the market? Actually, what is the timeline? It must be quite.
I'd say we need to be visionary to know what is going to be on trend, because we take between 2 to 3 years to come out with a collection. And when we started to work on the Square, it was 3 years ago, and the Square in 2019 came out with Hublot the first time. And yeah, it takes a lot of time. We are now working on a more dynamic way of proceeding with the speed of time to market, and actually with the production, actually fine-tune all the processes to be faster. Then we might short it up, but never less than, let's say, if we will make it, we will make a big party less than 2 years, we can. But with China, it was 1 year. Internally, it's a little bit longer. But at least we update. But the fun thing is that when you do watches at the beginning, when you do it internally, you design and you get the sample. And you know, the worst thing for PMs is when you get a sample in the hand and you question people, what do you think? Then you have so many feedbacks and you keep trying something until you get to the perfect match. This takes a little bit of time.
Designing by committee, never a great idea.
No, is that because we do for consumers. So when we do something, we like it ourselves. And Basile is, I want Basile to also introduce himself. He's practically Victorinox watches master. So Basile, please present yourself. He knows when we finish something, we love it. We question people because we want to know more. So to put ourselves in trouble.
Thank you. Hello, Basile, product manager for Victorinox since 16 years already. So I had the chance to see a lot of different development. We started with Inox 10 years ago, and we saw that this collection was really the Victorinox watch. We did a lot of testing, of durability testing, and now everything is based on the Inox pretty much. So it's really connected to the Swiss Army knife, and I'm sure to be special also, to produce everything in Switzerland is probably the best way to go, and also to offer the possibility for the consumer to get a really good product at the good price is the way to go. So thank you for being there.
So I think we've come to the end of our time. One last job to do.
So one last thing to do is that, let's see if someone can win something. So there is a watch as a gift. It's an Inox. And, but the question is the worth. It's a nice Inox. So let's see. Okay, now Basile is going to look who's pushing the hand up. Out of this piece that I have in hand, there are 3 things that happens that comes out from the production. If you can tell me the 3 things that are sourced and produced out of this, the faster and the more correct will win a watch. Are you ready? What we do produce out of this. 3 things. That was a good one. The case back. Yes? It's nice because I'm going to leave with the watch myself.
Got two.
Let me, because you didn't listen to me, now I try to help you. It's not the case, okay? Now take a watch and look at the watch. What is round like that, back case? I would be quite happy. And then what else we have on a watch that is round? I gave you too much information. Sorry? Three things. Back case, bezel. What happened inside the carbon? The third one is the container. So a bezel, the container for the carbon, and the back case. Okay, that was very brute from my side. So at least now you remember.
Yeah, the acoustics aren't brilliant in here. So.
That was really tough. I know. It took me a while to remember the container itself. Okay, I don't want to frustrate you. Now I give you another chance. If you fail this one, no watch, okay? Why it's pink? Congratulations! Should you speak? Huh? So here is your gift. Now the watch is not actually inside. I think you need to come to our booth afterwards. We explain you how to do. So congratulations for this. And I have a question for you all. You saw our collections, you know our prices, you saw the materials, the colors. What can we do? Let's stay away from technology. We are not going to be smart. We are dumb, basic Swiss. What would you suggest to Victorinox to do in watches to be even ahead and unexpected? If you were PM, if you were product, just leave you a few seconds to think what we should do more. What do you think?
Use 904.
984?
Steel instead of 316.
984 steel? Okay.
When I think of Victorinox as a brand, I think of like an outdoor brand, something that you're going out to do outdoors. So I think use of materials like going down the carbon route, titanium, in something which is rugged, durable, lightweight.
More into this. Okay.
I think more communication. And I think playing on the fact that you are genuinely Swiss made and almost challenging those, how Swiss are you? And if I was positioning, I would just be positioning because the Victorinox has the ultimate toolbox as a sort of common strategy. Because I think when you're doing something good, sometimes you just need to wave a flag. We're very lucky that we've had this chance to listen to you and learn something, but actually it's about getting that message out across because I've completely changed my opinion on the brand having just listened and touched on the watches.
You're totally right. So we always say we don't do comparative marketing because, of course, we respect our colleagues. We are not, and there will be, in any case, a product passport very soon. That will, where all brands needs to say what the case is made. So for the moment, we will. I think what you said is exactly what we need to do. I'm sorry. It's, with the accuracy depends from the movement, I think.
It depends on the movement. So for example, like an Air Pro with the Celita SW330, it will be slightly more accurate than a SW200, for example. The settings is different. And on the La Joux-Perret movement is also a bit more accurate than a normal SW200. So it really depends on the movement and what are the settings we do. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Not just before is one thing, and when shop also needs to stay accurate. Otherwise we have a problem. La Joux-Perret said we need to
But yes, we test all the movement are tested also before we send it out to the DC. Yeah. No. No, in terms of ecology, I mean, sustainability, it's not something we want to use. We discussed about it like a few years ago. It's cool, but it's not the company policy, so no.
also, the scale of cases is more than 70, that's like some even 90% recycled steel. And that's why more we go forward, less we go into materials that is forbidden by the law in certain places, despite it's very nice. Then we actually respect this for other tweets, because part of another brand, Victorinox, and it's two of those brands. And another important thing is that I'm working, of course, into this ecology thing. And we're coming as well with proximity products. And in the past, a little bit of a trick, working with tight, fantastic brand. Before, it happened with all the brands. But then we had a conflict of interest, how it is that we take the bottles from Asia, then they fly, they get to the boat, and they come to Switzerland, and then we actually claim it was not working for us. It's like paying for planting some plants that will never grow. So growing is not something that is part of our mind. So now we're doing straps made of PET or nylon from the Mediterranean Sea, made in Italy. So it's proximity very close to us. So these kind of things make sure we don't use certain materials on the for next developments.
So you're making your own cases. Is that scalable if you sell loads of watches?
We actually are not selling few watches, I have to be honest with you. We are not on 1,000, we are close to 100,000 numbers today. It is scalable, it is. And sometimes we have brands that come to us to get produced. So it's a very secret thing that we do for me luxury.
Okay, I think we've got another session coming up at the top of the hour. We've used up all our time here. Obviously, you're available out on the stand for the rest of the day if there's any other questions, and I think we can get up even closer with all the watches. So for now, I think I'd just like to say thank you very much, Ariana, and good luck with us today.